Hey guys, welcome to week 5. I'm just going to briefly tell you about week 5. First thing you want to do is click on the week 5 overview so that you can kind of tell what we're doing. As of right this moment, week 5 has 2 parts to it. One is the submission of the Essay 3 final copy. The second part is we've got to start our research paper, so I will be explaining, giving you resources, giving you things to think about, and you will have one assignment which will be like a brainstorming sheet to complete this week. So 2 things, but I'm just going to concentrate on the Essay 3 right now, and I'll send you another video tomorrow with more information about the research paper. All right, so the first thing is, let's talk about Essay 3. I made you a PowerPoint that talks about some do's and don'ts because I did just grade your drafts for Essay 3 and send them back to you. You should have a Canvas message with those. If you didn't turn it in on time, the thing you lose is my feedback. Okay, so drafts are really important. But I have given you some resources here that can help you kind of catch up. A couple of things I saw in drafts were thesis sentences were not good. They're not adequate. Look at your outline. Okay, go back and find your outline and use the one I suggested. Topic sentences, same thing. Use the one that I suggested. We're still not putting misery in italics. Got to be done. Some of you complained, or not complained, but you were worried about your paper being too long. What you can do to make it shorter, if you're over your 600 words, is to add, take out that third device. You could probably be fine by talking about, for example, lighting and camera angles. That may help some of you. You can do that for each of your body paragraphs. Another major problem is that we might mention a device, but we don't say how that creates suspense. That's important. So if you're talking about close-ups, how does that create suspense? If you're talking about there's fear in Paul's face, well, how do you know that there's fear in his face? What do you see in that close-up that establishes suspense? Don't use you, say the viewer. And some of you were giving me some strange themes. The only thing we've talked about is suspense. It's not anything else, not rage or survival. Reread the directions so that you're not counting points off or getting points counted off because of things like that. All right, so the first thing here is the do's and don'ts. So if you kind of scroll through this, topic sentences. If I put on your paper inadequate topic sentence, here's one. Misery uses several different film techniques to help establish the theme of suspense. And then don't name your scene, describe it. Help establish the theme of suspense in the hobbling scene, or in the scene where Paul is out of bed and Misery comes home, and Annie comes home. Then make sure to follow it. The first device you used is lighting, camera angles, whatever device you're using, okay? Do use concluding statements. Don't just end it abruptly talking about lighting. Finish it. Altogether, this scene brilliantly uses classic film devices to help support the theme of suspense. This is a great resource. Do italicize your film title. I have told you that a lot, so let's do it. This is how you do it. Swap up your wording, okay, because you could say establish the theme of suspense over and over again. You could say it supports the theme, highlights the theme, illuminates the theme, creates, builds. Present tense. Norman discusses, listens, helps, support. Use your present tense. Don't make announcements. The scene I chose to analyze first is the devices I found where I noticed in this paper. We're using a lot of quotes around the title. We don't have to. Just italics. Don't provide a summary. In this essay, I don't want a summary at all. You are analyzing this scene based on film devices and how it shows and builds suspense. Don't write a novel. In other words, you don't want a lot of words, so don't go way over. I know some of you may go over the limit of 600, but 900 to 1,000 is too much. So try, go ahead and omit some of the devices. Don't keep saying the same thing over again. Use different words. Don't use personal pronouns at all, and especially don't use you, okay? All right, so that's in there for you to use. Here is an interesting page. Some of you did not put in a conclusion paragraph in essay 2 or 1, so make sure you have one. This is just a really small page that kind of just says what to do. Don't run back through all 3 of your scenes. No point in doing that. Don't say things like this essay or I chose to. Keep it brief. You should have plenty of stuff in your body paragraphs. If you don't, your content grade will hurt you on this essay, because that's where the meat of this paper needs to be, is in those body paragraphs. Say something about how inventive the director was with film devices. Use his name. Perhaps say something about how important your film is to the film world. I mean, this is a pretty big film to the horror genre. Mention something related to your theme and how brilliant Stephen King is. Think about this. Without the director's brilliant use of film devices, the theme might disappear, wouldn't be as good, might be hard to understand. All of those will help you. Okay. Also, you will have in your essay 3 to look through is some examples. So I made this one from a class I did with Pet Sematary and Misery. So here's one. Right here is an intro example. It's another theme. They're talking about helplessness. We're not. We're talking about suspense, but it kind of shows you the good and the bad with the intro. Here is another one. And I'm not sure what I was saying here. I think I was just trying to say that you're talking about obsession and yet you're talking about a different theme. So in this one, again, we're still using suspense, but these are just giving you some examples of other people's intros. We don't need to copy them. Okay, good intro, another example. This just gives you examples in case, like on yours, if I put C template for intro, it means your intro is kind of all over the place. Here's someone's intro that's really not a good one. They don't, they actually plagiarize the theme. Don't use Google, use only original work. Here is a really good example of a body paragraph based on Pet Sematary. Here's another one from Pet Sematary as well, and it kind of gives you some of the problems, like how does this work in the scene. A lot of you put things where, and this one is a very good one, also from Pet Sematary, that if I put on there, how does this establish suspense? How does this create your theme? This might be a good one for you to read to kind of get a good view of that. All right, here's another thing I've included in here before you submit that final copy of Essay 3 I might go through is the checklist. Guys, this has everything that I look at in your paper. If you go through this and check to make sure that it's in your paper as well, your grade will do so much better. It will be so much better. So please don't just think of this as something busy work. This is really important to actually look through the checklist and check it with your own paper. Okay, the other thing is the Works Cited page. I just finished grading the Works Citeds that were due last week. They are pretty good, no major issues, except a lot of you are not including this one. You're going to have 3, just like we did in Essay 1, okay, and you can find those resources in the modules of how to do that. So most of you used the YouTube clips that I put in that page for Misery in last week's module, and if so, that's what this is. You have 3 entries right here from the YouTube Misery clips, but you've got to include the film as well, because you're talking about the film in general as well. So I just included the template here so that you can easily copy and paste that. Make sure your Works Cited page, though, is included in your paper, your final copy. You've got to have it. If you don't, it's plagiarism. That is just the rules. It does not matter that you've already turned this in. I'm just making you do it ahead of time so you're not having to write your essay and finish it and do the Works Cited page. But you've got to, and all you have to do, guys, is go into it and copy it and then go to a new clean piece of paper in your document and paste it there. Okay, that's all you have to do. And then right here is Essay 3 final copy. I need it Sunday on 11:59 or before. Remember, you will be a late penalty if you turn it in late. If you turn it into Canvas and you're not sure if it went through, send me an email and I'll go in immediately and check and make sure that it went through. The rest of the week, we will be talking about research paper. I'm going through kind of making sure I've got my ducks in a row before I lay out the research paper for you, but I will try to have that all posted for you tomorrow. I know it's July 4th weekend, but in online courses, we don't have breaks. So I'm trying to, I've kind of made this week not so difficult. Many of you gave me more than 2 paragraphs of your draft, which means what you need to do is look over the mistakes. Guys, change the comments. If I said do this, do it. Don't let, these are free points to you. So make sure that you're making the corrections, and as you go, keep in mind those comments, because if you made those mistakes in body paragraph 1, you probably made them in body paragraph 2 and 3, okay? And I didn't necessarily check any of that. I went, if you gave me more and that's what I returned to you, I looked at your topic sentences after the first 2 paragraphs, okay? So that I did take care of that, but you need to make sure that you make those corrections in the draft, and that as you continue, you're keeping in mind those comments. So anyway, I know it's the holiday, so have a great break for those days that you celebrate, but don't forget Essay 3's got to be turned in by Sunday. All right, let me know through Canvas message if you have any questions.